Very good morning to all of you, various members of seva, various representatives of NGOs, various members of the corporate world, and all the very informed citizens of this city of Hyderabad. Very good morning to all of you. Initially, I thought that I will give a scientific presentation on where the technology is moving for bringing sustainability. But after listening to the Honorable Minister and also looking at the charter of...
So the presentation is already on. So
no, I don't want presentation. I'll go extempore.
Extempore.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so I had planned actually to give you a very detailed presentation on where the science and technology is moving. But after listening to all this and also knowing the interest of what this organization is up to, I decided to go on few issues which are of course very much related to technology, but issues which are relevant in today's world. Because if you look at science and technology, over the last 5,000 years there has been tremendous progress. And that progress has been particularly to improve the quality of life. Unfortunately, the quality of life has remained to a very specific section of the society, and it has not permeated to all. What we call as inclusive, it is no more inclusive. But new technologies have opened up myriad opportunities, and that's what our Honorable Minister mentioned. The vehicle of information, communication and technology, ICT as we call it, to bridge the gap between the digital world and the rural India, and that is a big mission. Now all the technologies which have come have certainly a lot of potential to bridge this divide. India has played a major role in the development of these technologies. In fact, while people say that most of the technologies have come from Europe in the today's world, but if you look at what India did prior to in the BCs and the early ADs in terms of contribution to science and technology, it has been tremendous. We cannot forget that there were people who developed gravity before Newton gave the gravity. There were people who developed variety of astronomical things before actually Kepler developed its own methods. So the Vedic science which has been there as part of the system certainly speaks largely of the depth to which the Indian science had developed in those years. But unfortunately, for various reasons which are very well known to you, that has been completely curbed due to hundreds of years of invasion and people coming in and trying to steal away the wealth of this nation and then change the complete cultural ethos altogether. So from that age to today, in the just about 67 to 70 years, we have seen the growth of Indian society from agri to industry, in spite of the fact that we missed the industrial revolution, to information society today and to the knowledge society what we are talking of. When I saw the words sustainability, I was really moved, because I am one of those persons who have always believed that science and technology, while it has made the life of our people very comfortable, but it has certainly made it it has left a lot of adverse impact. What is that adverse impact we are talking of? We have got science and technology which has left imprint in terms of human toxicity in food, air and water and soil. We have rising demands of energy for transport, manufacturing, heating and cooling. We have depletion of non-renewable resources, and we have excessive demand for water for homes, agriculture and industry. We have rising demand for land for housing, food production and economic activities, ever increasing number of landfills and ecosystem damage and habitat loss. And no wonder we have a global impact on the climate. And this list is not small, this continues, the litany goes on. Most important thing what is happening is that our society is becoming so consumerist because of this impact of science and technology that we have a huge resource, natural resources are declining today and consumption is rising. We are all consuming more than what we need to consume. While it is good to have 90,000 crores cell phones, but we have to also understand the price we are paying for that. After the oil bill in this country, the biggest import bill is that of electronics. We have to also weigh the percentage of gain by this 90 crores of the cell phones vis-a-vis the import bill. Do you really need 90 crores? Is it required? Look at it very carefully, because consumption is something, if it exponentially rises, it is going to put all our development on the back burner, and you won't have coal to produce energy, you won't have fossil fuels to take energy, you will not be able to do anything. So consumption is something which is part of the sustainable development that has to be taken care of. Now, what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is one where you look at not what we are doing today, what technology is doing today. We are not worried about that, but what technology is going to do for the future of this planet Earth. The planet Earth has to be sustained with respect to socio, economical, and techno-economic. So three distinct centers are there. Center one is the eco center, center two is the techno center, and third is the socio-centric. All technologies that have to be developed today have to merge these three spheres together so that there is a balance of technocentricity, eco-centricity, and the economic centricity. All of them, if they work together, then the planet Earth will take care of its environment, of its natural resources, and then you will have all the social concerns which are giving. We talk of divide. This divide will vanish. Social expectations which are there, they will also be fulfilled. Then that is what the tech seva should do, and that is what we should be able to bring in through technology. This amalgamation of these three centers or three circles is what we are looking at. United Nations actually looked at this problem, and they give 6 necessary desirable transformations for that. What are the major 6 transformations which UN has identified? If you look at one of the major transformation is energy revolution. For doing everything what you do, you need to have energy, and that means a global energy transformation which is needed, but with a manner in which it should reduce 80% reduction in the carbon dioxide which are emanated from the various energy sources, whether they are automobiles, whether they are thermal power reactors, or they are nuclear reactors, or whatever that. You have to make sure that it comes down. Then the planet Earth will certainly be useful. Food, a future food, and future food is what we are looking at. A food system transformation to achieve 70% production increase, that we are talking of increase, by 2050 through sustainable intensification. You can't produce food by killing the earth so that you bring that kind of seeds which will not be useful, or you introduce that technology of genetically modified seeds which are not going to be affordable. So many of those things have to be weighed in terms of their technology before you introduce them as part of the system. We are already seeing Hyderabad city has got a population rise. Urban planet is taking place. People are migrating from the rural areas to the urban. Now, we can't continue like this. We have to make the urban planet. That means whatever we are able to provide in the realm of the cities, in the urban areas, I should be able to create the similar infrastructure, similar facilities in the rural areas, and that's called the urban planet. Obviously, the population is rising, adapting to the population transition and preparing for a world of not today's 6 billion. We have to prepare for 9 billion. Even a city of Hyderabad has to take care of today's not 85 lakhs, but tomorrow's 1.5 crores. That is what we have to look at. We cannot stop the migration, but we have to take the technology to the rural areas. Thereby the migration will stop. That is what we have to look at. Biodiversity management and global governance. Participation of the people in the governance is one of the major requirements for sustainability. If you want to sustain, create technological ways by which participation of the people in the governance will take place that will bring sustainability. Up to this point, I think you have seen the slides, but that's because after that there is an enormous amount of science which I brought in. But I want to discuss with you a few things. You don't have to present the slides anymore, but the areas in which there is tremendous amount of work is required to be done, particularly in the form of getting energy. If you see energy security as a domain today, you need to go in all fronts. But one front which can certainly bring in a lot of technology for the rural areas is biomass energy creation. And that biomass energy creation is very much important today because this country produces 1 million tons of biomass per year. Andhra Pradesh, if you look at in the series of Andhra Pradesh, I'm not talking of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, the total. I'm talking of, you look, because my data is prior to the division of the state, is number 2 in terms of creation of biomass after, of course, Haryana and Punjab, which are there, and next, of course, the Gujarat and Maharashtra. If you have this kind of a 1 million ton of biomass, obviously what you can do with this biomass, you can create, even if you use 30% of this biomass. And I want to also elaborate what is this biomass which we are talking of. We are an agriculture society. We have huge amount of biomass created due to the agriculture waste, sugarcane dropouts, sugarcane based materials, roadside growth, forest residues, growth on the wasteland, agroforestry, and dungs from the livestock, poultry droppings. All these you look at all of them, it makes a huge percentage. If you use them, and that is where organizations like NGOs can come. And what they can do, they will be able to produce 2,600 megawatts of power per year at a very cheap cost. Technology, gasification, esterification, pyrolysis, many technologies which are already developed are available. I'll give you a very example which I recently saw in Haryana. There's a place called Baba Sacha Dora. There is a kind of a community which is living in about 5,000 houses, about 10,000 acres of agricultural land. They have connected the complete fecal matter coming from these 5,000 houses. Every house has got about 1 or 2 cattle. So all the fecal matter from the cattle and all the agriculture dropouts, because they are growing lots of crops, aloe vera, lots of fruits, lots of grains, all the agriculture waste put together, they are running a bioreactor. And what is a bioreactor? A technology which was developed by DRDO, where the biomass is converted into methane using a bacteria, a inoculum. And this 5,000 locality is able to produce methane gas which is stored in cylinders like your LPG what you get today and being supplied to all the 5,000 houses. In addition to that, it develops about 250 kilowatts of power. Now this is the model. When I was visiting the Gudivilra Engineering College and I saw in the Krishna districts lots of the heaps of biomass piled up, not being utilized. And at the most people were burning it without extracting any energy. Why not we take this technology and start doing it in the villages around where the agriculture is predominant? And a group of houses can certainly do this kind of a thing. And mind it, it will not only give you the energy and the gas for your cooking, but it will also give you employment. Because biomass is one thing which requires preparation. When you take collection, preparation of the biomass for feeding into a gasification plant or in a bio transformation plant, anywhere you need that, and you will get almost like 1,20,000 jobs across the country you will be able to provide. That is inclusiveness. That is where the technology will give you variety of gains in terms of that. Similar thing if you look at when you travel from here to Vijayawada by train, or you travel any route in the country from here to Delhi. Every railway station, if you go from entry to the exit, another 4 kilometers on both sides, don't you see so much of filth being collected? And that filth is nothing but great biomass. Now what do? It is just rotting around, keeping all the stations in the dirty conditions, and of course it is unhygienic. The same technology can be utilized by the Indian Railways. You take that biomass collection, people living around, lot of urchins going around collecting polythene, they can all be used for collecting this biomass. Use the electrical inspection vehicle which is moving on the railway track every day for inspecting the tracks. Take that biomass to a nearby a pyrolysis plant or a biogas plant and burn it there and produce electricity and provide back to the houses which are in that region. Provide that, it will give you Swachh Bharat, cleaning the railway tracks, it will give you energy, it will give you employment for people who are living there. I'm sure some of these NGOs, some of you should be able to take use. In fact, I wrote this particular proposal to the railway minister, because with their help, we can convert this as a technology. Similar thing on the bio toilet I would like to mention. Swachh Bharat is our Abhiyan today. I know what is the percentage of houses in the rural areas who have got the toilets dedicated to themselves. This bio toilet technology which has been developed by DRDO has got investment of not more than 25,000 rupees per toilet. Its maintenance cost is practically nil because it works on a microbial degeneration of the fecal matter. It produces methane gas. It gives you irrigatable water as an output. It doesn't require anything other than that. We can popularize these bio toilets all around wherever they are there in the various localities where it can be put. Technology has been transferred to more than about 40 industries in the country today, and they are available for doing the work. In fact, 12,000 bio toilets were supplied to Lakshadweep because they have a problem of the water level being almost same as the sea level, and the drainage of the fecal matter is a major problem. So this has been done there. Now, I'm sure in our Telangana Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we should be able to provide this technology to various villages as an experimental measure, and tomorrow many NGOs can take it up as one of the major things that can be done. Same is the technology of gasification. You see all over the place in this city, heaps of municipal solid waste piled up. I live in cantonment and I know despite all this effort which we are talking of cleaning our city, the wastes are not clean, waste are not cleared. Then you have in Jawahar Nagar a huge pile of the waste which is being piled up today in the landfill area, which is becoming a major problem for the citizens living around that place. Technology of gasification is available of the municipal solid waste. Can it not be converted by some of us putting the gasification plant or a pyrolysis plant or a plasma gasification plant, which will not only convert this MSW into the energy, that means you will get some gas which can run for power, but it will clean our city. These technologies are available, ladies and gentlemen, and we can make use of them as part of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, as part of our own will to clean this city and also generate power. Many of these things are available. DRDO also did the same bio toilets for integration with large number of railways. In fact, between Bihar and Calcutta and Assam, the bio toilets has been put on about 7 to 8 trains. It can also be integrated to large number of our tourist buses. In the night, when the people are traveling on night buses, there's a problem for the ladies to go for toilet. Where do they go? They are always looking for a place and it's not safe. Bio toilets can be integrated with all the tourist buses which are plying in the country today, which does not require any energy and the hygiene is maintained and it is required a low cost solution. So these are things which are available today. You talk of another technology which we developed and which we handed over were basically to NGOs. It was preservation of dal and roti. We see a large number of people looking for, then we go to these fast food joints where coffee is going to cost you about 40 rupees or a roti or idli is going to cost you about something like 25 to 30 rupees. Where you dal and roti technology for 7 days if you cook by NGOs, it can be preserved and distributed at a cost of less than 20 rupees. A good sum technology provided, released to NGOs. Similar technologies are available. DRDO did an enormous amount of work in developing telemedicine capability. We developed what is called telemetry systems. What is telemetry systems? That I can communicate, I can transmit data, I can transmit information. In fact, there are in our own city, there are companies which are manufacturing telemetry systems. Now, these telemetry systems for transmission of images, transmission of information, communication to the doctors from rural areas to the expert institutions can be made available to, and many NGOs can be benefited in converting into a commercial venture and providing employment. You must have heard the story of Kalam Somaraju stent, which was developed using the DRDO technology, where the titanium stent, which used to cost about 1,60,000 rupees in those days, was made available for the cost of 12,000. Same thing is happening now. A technology which is available, going to be available, is for hearing impaired people, a cochlear implant. A cochlear implant which costs something like 6 to 8 lakhs on import is going to be available today. Trials are going on for about less than 2 lakhs rupees. A lot of people will get benefited. Now telemedicine, cochlear implant, stent, many of these things, dal roti, bio toilets, gasification technology, Swarna Bharat Abhiyan, all these things can be done and then they can be made part of the entire system. A few things I like to mention that today's technology has to be made use of for sustainability in a different form also. And that is, I see a lot of corporate people sitting here, people who are running their own industries, they are sitting here. We need to now look at how do we graduate to next level of manufacturing. How do we reduce the consumption? So the manufacturing has to be looked at in a totally different perspective. Earlier we used to only worry about mining the material, converting the material into usable material, converting into a product and then marketing it. That's not the only way. We never bothered about how much energy it is going to consume. We never bothered about the mining, how it is going to affect the environment. We never bothered about after the product is used, how it is going to be disposed of, what it really ill effects, and that's how you have today's this polythene problem, which is a major problem for this planet in terms of its organic, in its degeneration, and how will it find into the complete natural cycle its own way. So the new approach which is coming up is product life cycle approach, in which right from supply, manufacturing, outbound transportation, distribution, consumer, and finally disposal is becoming the requirement. So earlier what used to have is a 3R concept is now going into what is called 6R concept, in which after the manufacturing and use, you are going to talk of recovery, recycle, redesign using that product, reduce the size and remanufacture to provide. When we have today thousands of these cell phones, if you go to a cell phone company, my cell phone is not working, he says, sir, please don't ask me to repair it, please throw it. I am sure many of you must have faced this situation. Now, what will happen to all this plastic? Computer waste, laptops, computers, desktops, all that plastic, what will happen to it? The entire PCBs, the power supplies, the complete cabinet, the plastic, it's all going to go as a non-biodegradable product into your earth surface. Manufacturing companies have to worry about it, and that's why they have to change from what is today called the 3R concept to 6R concept. And today, already many companies have implemented what we call as the lean manufacturing, but manufacturing has to graduate to green manufacturing. I don't want an aircraft to keep polluting when it is flying. Everybody is now going to talk about aircraft which will consume fuels which will not pollute, green energy devices, sustainable manufacturing, where you are talking of great innovation. All that will not come unless you gentlemen, you engineers, you technologists change your attitude towards design for sustainability. We have to make products which are designed for sustainability. What is the design for sustainability? Of course, any product has to meet its functional requirements. So you will have design for its functionality. You have to design for manufacturability. You have to design for resource utilization economically. Design for such that the environmental impact is minimum, and design for recycling, remanufacturability, and design where the minimum societal adverse impact is there. If it creates, my design creates more employment, if my design creates more jobs, that's a good design. If a design creates a system by which it affects the environment, it is a bad design. I need to have design for sustainability as a major requirement, and hence you will have green factories, leaders who will be able to do this, and that will not come unless we innovate. If we look at innovation cycle, which has happened for the last so many decades, 1785 onwards, when the first wave of innovation came, where you discovered iron, water, textiles, and so on, to steam power, which came in 1800, to the electricity and chemicals and IC engines, which came in the year 1900, and of course, then the petrochemicals and the electronics and the aviations, which came in 1950s, and today's digital networks, biotechnology, software technology, and information technology, which is prevalent today, is now going to graduate into a different domain, what we call as sustainability, radical resource productivity, whole system design, biomimicry. You have to design systems the way God has designed. We have to design systems the way God has designed the entire system. My aircraft today is completely fixed wing made out of aluminum or titanium. But the bird flies with its flapping wings. It doesn't have a propulsion system. It has its own energy. It generates, it flies. It does not consume anything from you except the food which it is eating, converting into energy and traveling miles and miles, not affecting the environment. My aircraft pollutes. My aircraft consumes a lot of materials, it consumes a lot of power. So we have to look at those designs which will mimic the nature. Green chemistry, industrial ecology, and renewable energy, and green nanotechnologies. That is the way technology will go, and that technology will bring sustainability. And for that, I would like to mention that what Honorable Minister also mentioned, geospatial technologies, in which GPS, GIS, 3D modeling, sensors, sonars, georeferencing, identifying where is more fish available, identifying where is the stream of water coming from Himalayan down using the isotopes of the beta nature. Without digging, I can find out from where the water is flowing, and that will be my natural water path. Just because the technology is available with our Department of Atomic Energy for doing this kind of a thing. Now that is going to be what we call as the user community pyramid, that is from sea, land, river, mountain, information collection, remote sensing, data center, cloud computing, GPS, GIS, to school of fish, pets and fertilizers, disaster warning systems, land forest and water management system, education and health system, industrial mining, e-governance, G-governance, giving succor to the people at the bottom of the pyramid, and that is the pyramid for rural areas, urban areas, fishing community, farmers, industry and government, and that is how the technology should flow. Now that cannot happen unless we have leaders who are in a position to do what is called sustainable development. Many leaders are there. All of us have been leading in some way or the other. But what we need is a holistic principle for sustainable leadership. And that requires you have to empower yourself for taking responsibility. You have to look for interconnections, as I mentioned to you, between what you are doing in the rest of the society. You have to look for conversation, communicating what you are doing with what we can make others do, and also recognize that outcomes that unfold has a complex dynamics. It affects many. Notice and attend to the human dynamics of transformation of change, experiment, reflect and adjust and share that what is needed to a leader who will do sustainable development. And for that I want to say, we cannot shy away from the fact that we are engineers and engineers cannot be neutral. I'll give an example. Many decisions we take in our own service life. We have made a ring road in our Hyderabad. First Uppal ring road came. In fact, Nizam made a ring road, made the roads for the city, which met the requirement from a few lakhs population to almost about 40 lakhs till about 1980. It met the requirements. After that, we started making ring roads. That ring road is like a lane today. We never bothered about service roads, we never about toilets, we never bothered about parking, we never bothered about drainage, we never bothered about where the rain will go. We have today complete mess of the road network in this country, in this Hyderabad. We have now making ORR. I am 100% certain, having not made the intersections, the rate of accident has increased. We as engineers are responsible for not saying no to those who did not allow you to actually do that job. It is our responsibility to say that technically, from the point of view of the society's comfort and the growth of this city, this plan is not okay. I shall not do it. This city is now today doing metro overboard, where even the roads are not in a position to accommodate the number of vehicles. 20% the road space we are doing on metros. Have we done it on the underground? Maybe it would have taken a few thousand crores more, but it would have solved my problem in a much bigger way. Today, the country are making BRT in the middle of the road. Engineers are designing. Half the road is just occupied for the movement of one bus, whereas hundreds of cars are choked on the side lanes on both sides. Do you think, gentlemen, that this is not the job of the town planner, the town planning engineer, the town planning people, the engineers like me who have to think of all this with respect to sustainability? If we don't do it, investments will become local, they will be remaining only for few days, useful to you, and future generations will always curse us. So you have to say no. And if you don't say no to wrong policies, wrong plans, then you are not doing the job of a sustainable leader. A sustainable leader has to say no for something which is not wrong. Why I am saying this? Because there are two types of worlds. One world is an eco world which God has created, which has got a, we call it biological world, the natural world, which has got earth, ocean and space. Another world is what we have created. That is a world called the hyper system, which is the physical artificial world, where we have society, we have science, we have economy, we have technology. Now these two worlds are today living together. One is growing faster, another is growing slow. So there's enough tension between the two. Who is the entity which is between these two worlds? I and you, the man, the mankind. The mankind is what is doing this. For sustainability, this man has to bring in self-consciousness and consciousness of nature and what we call as the world spirit. That world spirit will come if in our day-to-day working, we have three things. What is called the Shastra perspective, in which higher purpose of technology is perceived for the benefit of the mankind. And ethical values, what we call as the dharmic behavior, that has to come. That will come with 5 words. Technology for Shanti, Satyam, Dharma, Ahimsa and Prema. If you can bring all this as part of your technology, that means science and technology get put together, then you will get the right amount of sustainability. And this tension which is existing between these two worlds, which is breaking the society, which is creating conflicts, many of them will vanish, gentlemen and ladies. I want to give some key messages to you on my talk. The world needs a rapid global transformation to a new development paradigm of human prosperity within the safe operating space of the earth. This places sustainability at the forefront of the development. Challenge global revolutions on food, energy, new approaches to urban development, transport, circular economy. This word has to be understood. Circular economy is again related to reuse, remanufacturing, and taking the systems back into the cycle of development. Science and technology must play a key role in delivering the integrated system solutions for world's prosperity. Planetary challenge requires global network of science collaboration. I want to also mention that nothing can happen unless we spend more time on education. There's a society called Handprint Society which is doing this today. We reduce the impact of all this adversity on the planet Earth. Choices that we make comes through education, and these choices will shape our opportunities in future. Alternative models of vision for sustainable future is not enough, but what we need is action, and that is what our Honorable Prime Minister has been taking. In all this sense, education is a key driver to achieve this transformation. We have to make people understand what is sustainability, and in that direction education is needed. Education for sustainable development encourages a shift from viewing education as purely a delivery mechanism to a lifelong, holistic and inclusive learning process. You have to learn, relearn and then learn. De-learn and learn. That is the syndrome which you have to follow. That means learn, unlearn and relearn. That is what you have to do. Handprint is measured of the ESG education. How much education is creating a handprint? An action that is directed to decrease the human footprint. Human footprint has to be reduced and human handprint has to be increased. Please join us in increasing our footprint, increasing our handprint and reducing our footprint on this planet Earth to make it sustainable for not yourself but for your future generations, for your grandchildren, and maintaining the life of this planet long enough by technology and science. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you.